Yes, so now to some breaking news. Before we start what's trending, we're just learning with officials of Kebbi State government confirming a terrorist attack on Maga Comprehensive Girls Secondary School, where an unspecified number of female students have been abducted. So the chief press secretary to Kebbi State Governor Ahmed Idris confirmed the attack, while also saying that the details are still somewhat ambiguous as of now. But here's what we know. The state Deputy Governor Umar Tafida has led a team of government officials to the scene of the crime, while sources report that a staff of the school was killed and some even sustained different injuries as the terrorists got into the school and shot sporadically. So we'll definitely follow that story, as we progress throughout the day. But as we talk about insecurity, we start what's trending today with the that we're hearing from the Pope on this as well. And Rufai, since you're sitting next to me, I'll start with you. If we take all of these stories along with that breaking news of, these female students getting kidnapped, how should we be thinking about the Pope and just insecurity in Nigeria overall?
I just pray we're able to get the girls back, but it reminds me of Chibok. It reminds me of Dapchi. God knows where Leah Sharibu is. But you see, the painful thing is that those that advocated for Leah Sharibu are the ones with the talking points today against Christian genocide. You can see how people become hypocritical and they use the plight of people for their own political benefits in this country. And may God visit them. May God visit their conscience and ask them questions. I think this move by the federal government is misplaced. And I say that. You are not showing any intention of solving the problem. You are sending your governmental aides to go and say there's no Christian genocide. And at the same time, you send somebody to Plateau to talk to Dachomo. Your governmental aide had a fallout with Piers Morgan. We are still waiting to see that interview. The world knows that there's Christian genocide in Nigeria. I've quoted Jim Shannon. There are many other reports. In fact, this Congress that is going to start its proceedings on Thursday, regards country of particular country, there was a Catholic priest that went there, I think about a year ago, that Oji played the video where he went to give evidence as regards what's happening. So you can see the massive level of insecurity, but the government is not ready. If they are ready, they will release the list of terrorist financiers. Dubai shared that list with us in the last administration. But you see, for the sake of politics, they will never. The likes of Sheikh keeps running around and saying all sorts, peeing on the graves of people that died. People keep getting kidnapped and killed, but the government thinks the way to go about it is propaganda. I'm happy that Fox News is now also beaming the light on Samuel Jackson's case. The man that in defense of himself killed a bandit or a terrorist and he was taken to court. Blasphemy laws exist in Nigeria, and some governmental ministers are saying that, no, we respect religious freedom, but blasphemy laws exist in Nigeria. I'm happy that the Pope has said it. Till today, the other time when this happened, President Tinubu said, oh, he's going to get ambassadors. Maybe they are going to get this week, I don't know. So you can see that the government reaction, like they will always do, is to deflect. But deflection does not solve the problem. Look at an APC chieftain, Makiri, that was killed recently. All of those things show that the government is not ready to solve the problem. Annie, I'm sad to announce to you that many years after, we'll still be talking about this thing because government is not.
Now, Nigeria's security landscape remains one of the most pressing challenges of the country right now. Although there have been occasional successes by security agencies in other parts of the country recently in the fight against Boko Haram, but the overall situation is still very fragile and deeply rooted in political and ethnic tensions. Now, the state of banditry and kidnapping in the northwest and north central part of Nigeria, like Kaduna, Zamfara, Katsina, and all those places, is getting out of hand. There's been a lot of kidnapping for ransom, which has become a major criminal industry now, especially in Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and Niger State. Benue is not excluded from the list too, and Plateau. Now, bandit groups now operate with sophisticated weapons and often outgun police officers. Now, there are a lot of rural communities that face constant threats, forcing a lot of people to abandon their farms and worsening food insecurity. The extortion of farming taxes is particularly prevalent in rural areas where state security presence is low or non-existent at all. Now, there are a lot of affected and specific communities mentioned in certain reports. Now, for example, in Karanamoda in Zamfara State, Karanamoda local government areas, the farmers in Dan Issa district, comprising around 35 villages, each paid a significant amount of 800,000 per village to a bandit leader named Dan Sadia for access to their farms, with another payment expected after harvest or during harvest time. Now, you can imagine people paying taxes in their own country just to have access to their land. There's another example again in Maru local government in Zamfara. Dankurumi village faced a demand for 60 million naira just to have access to their farmland. This is very pathetic in a country like Nigeria. So the presidency needs to do a lot in beefing up securities in those areas to prevent such incidences. Because if this continues with time, we may run out of food. Farmers might not be able to, go to their farm and have food for themselves and make provision for food to other people to sell. So this is really sad that is happening in Nigeria. The worsening insecurity state is beyond what the government can handle at the moment, and they need to find solution to these problems as quick as possible. Now, in another sad development involving the state of insecurity in Nigeria, there are various reports saying that armed men have killed a teacher and abducted at least 25 students in an attack on a girls' secondary school in northwestern Nigeria. Police have said the gang invaded the government girls' comprehensive secondary school in Maga, Kebbi State at around 4 a.m. local time. The attackers engaged police personnel on duty in a gun duel before scaling the perimeter fence and seizing the students from their hostel. Now, one member of staff was killed while trying to protect the students. A second sustained gunshot wounds and is now receiving medical attention. Now, eyewitnesses have described a large group of attackers, also known as bandits, who arrived firing sporadically to cause panic. Now, this is so sad, so sad. This is very sad that it's coming out of Nigeria. Now, the police said they had deployed additional police tactical units alongside military personnel and vigilante group to see how they can cope or get back these girls. But a coordinated search and rescue operation is already on the way, surrounding forest and suspected escape routes within the school area. Now, over the past decades, schools in northern Nigeria have always become frequent targets for armed groups who often carry out abductions to seek ransom payments or leverage deals with the government as regards
in different quarters.
as regards
If
their
you're talking
release.
about,
However, this is the first major
we
school
negotiated
abduction
with
since
we
March
gave amnesty to
2024, when more than 200 pupils were seized from a school in Kuriga, Kaduna State. Now, the attack in Kebbi State highlights the persistent security crisis plaguing the region, leaving families in Maga in a state of fearful exhaustion as they wait and hope for their daughter's safe return. Now, this is coming out of a state that has been struggling with banditry. Banditry has stopped, like has affected their farming activities. Economically, they are affected, and now their daughters are being abducted for ransom. So the worsening state of insecurity from Nigeria actually needs an external force, an external help to help cope this situation. These are the same bandits that Shegumi has been clamoring for the government to negotiate with them. Well, the issue is you can't keep negotiating with these bandits, these terrorists, because when you do that, you are empowering them. That's one. And secondly, Nigeria is so big and you can't do that for every northwestern state. If you are able to do that in a state, say for example, the Zamfara, the ones in Kebbi are going to react. So you can see how these things are happening.